URC time, Vodacom URC, DHL Stadium, Friday night, rugger under lights. A lot of people saying that's a better bet than a 2 o'clock kickoff. We've got the schools rugby, we've got the club rugby, so it is this Friday night. Hamilton's rugby club's going to be turning to a bit of a festival, beer garden, etc. Zelim Nel, SARugbymag magazine editor, he's with me. The log, as you will see it, the Stormers, the Sharks, and even the Bulls, all to play for in the next 2 weeks. And if the Unicorns come in and everything happens, we could have 2 South African home quarterfinals, and with a little bit of luck, tripping the odd Irish leprechaun out there, we could even host a final in South Africa.
That would be incredible.
At the Cape Town Stadium, now known as the DHL Stadium, we could have the Stormers up against the Bulls.
In the final.
In the final.
Incredible.
That's what we got to play for at the moment. I know Leo Cullen has said a South African franchise has to earn the right to host a final. We can do that over the next 3 weeks.
Indeed.
And we can make a statement and say, by that time, hopefully it's all in and it's 50,000 people to watch the Stormers host a final. Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't that be a sweet end? Because remember when we joined the URC, there was an uproar. And here we are.
Wouldn't that be great?
In the mix.
Cut? No, we'd have to cut. Okay, so that is what could actually happen.
Yeah.
What will happen?
Let's talk turkey.
Okay.
Gobble, gobble.
What have we got going here? Munster, interestingly enough, could start this weekend. They're on currently, in what position are they now? Munster fourth. They could be second by Saturday morning, or they could be 8th by Saturday night.
So close.
That's how incredible this is, and what really suits the South African teams is that wonderful competition called the Champions Cup, because Munster and Leinster are playing their quarterfinal in 3 weeks' time, and we've seen Leinster already rest 10 of the internationals, not bring them to South Africa. I cursed that. I said, you've insulted the tournament, Leinster. You've insulted the South African franchises. You've betrayed the ethos of a champion. But my God, we love you. We may thank you, because it could be 2 wins for the South African teams against a weakened Leinster. The Sharks should pump them, and the Stormers next week should do them as well.
It's an interesting move, and I'll tell you why I think it's an interesting move. Of all the European teams, the team that travels the best by far is Leinster. And so they've got this, 10-point lead on everybody else at the top of the log. But if they surrender that by sending the second-rate side, I think they'll be kicking themselves. As much as they want to win in the European Champions Cup, it's a surprising move to me that they've reserved as much of that. Although, having said that, the blokes at the Sharks have been telling us that there's still 10 internationals there. So,
well, there's a lot of internationals playing in this tournament. We talk current internationals, though.
Yeah.
I think they are safe, though, they can't be overtaken at 60, can they?
Well,
unless they lose that last game, it's when they host Munster in Dublin. That could be a cracker. They could be playing for a top place position there. So it's a fantastic end to a tournament that started so poorly.
Yeah.
It started with South Africa coming out of a domestic season, an international season, straight into playing 4 matches away from home with weakened teams, with guys who, the sprinkling that were in the current Springbok squad, they couldn't play.
Yes.
There was this, what have we done now? We can't compete with these guys. The pace of the game's too big. Look what Leinster did to the Bulls. We looked at a Cardiff come here and take 40 points against the Stormers, and a fortnight later push Saracens at Saracens 40-33. We've looked at an Ulster come here, lose to the Stormers, lose to the Bulls, beat Toulouse in Toulouse the next week, and we're 5 minutes away from beating Toulouse again. Lost 50-49 on aggregate. So to the South African public, I want to keep on reinforcing this. Our rugby domestically is right up there with what you're seeing in France, what you're seeing in England, and what you're seeing in the Celtic nations. Yes, Leinster are a class apart. They are the crusaders of this competition and have pretty much been that in Europe for a while. Toulouse have been on the fly because of the Intermax, the DuPonts of the world. We're not far behind, and we get 1 or 2 veterans back into our domestic franchises, and Eben's certainly going to strengthen the Sharks. A front ranker comes into the Bull setup. Another experienced one comes back to the Stormers. We've got a great nucleus of young players, and I'm telling you that we won't be far off winning this tournament 2022-23. We'll definitely be hosting a few playoff matches. I think it's an incredible effort that we have 3 teams with 3 rounds to go, with the potential of 2 of them actually hosting a quarterfinal in South Africa.
It's a hell of a recovery. We spoke about how dire it was at the start of the competition. A few of us were quite red-faced about South Africa's fortunes in the early running overseas. But the tables have completely turned. When these guys travel, they go from giants into jelly beans because their record away from home is diabolical. So just to give you an idea, if we talk about the teams, the teams in the top 5, we take Leinster, Ulster, Glasgow, Munster, and then Edinburgh, obviously down in 7th. Combined at home, they're 33-1-3. So they've won 33 matches, drawn 1, and lost 3. That's an 89% win record. Those same teams combined when they travel away from home are 15-23 for a 39% win rate. So away from home, these guys are not good. And if you look at the remaining schedule over the next 3 weeks, Leinster are 2 away games and a home game. Ulster, home, away, home. Glasgow, 3 away games. Munster, away, away, and Edinburgh, home. So you kind of, if you look at the stats, look at the record, you think Edinburgh are going to climb and Glasgow are going to drop in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, and you think also that Munster are the one that is in serious trouble at the moment because their form away from home has been as powerful, and they certainly are looking at the Champions Cup as that would be their salvation, that would be the redeeming thing.
Yes.
I don't think they're good enough to go beyond the semi-finals there in any case in that competition. For me, the team still to beat will be Leinster and a full-strength Leinster, regardless of where you play them.
But then what does 2nd and 3rd place look like for you? Like, how does that roll out?
Geez, I think the Stormers really could get to 2nd there.
Sure.
I've got them to obviously win on Friday night against the Glasgow Warriors. Again, no disrespect to Glasgow Warriors. I think they're a good side at home. They also haven't travelled well. Their away record's not that great. I do believe the Sharks at home should say we should be beating Leinster. All things considered, we should be stronger than the Leinster side, missing 10 internationals.
Sure.
We use the same argument that the Bulls should have been stronger against the Munster side, missing 9 of their current internationals.
Yeah.
They were 29-3 up in a game. They ended up winning 29-24. They should have put them away back then.
Yeah.
So it would really be a telling statement that Leinster makes if they come here and get points, having left the core of their current Irish internationals at home. Then you would ask what price to go there and actually beat them. So I think it's imperative for the South African teams, as they've done in the last 6 weeks, continue to put down a marker and say, when you come to the Republic, you're going to get some pain. You're going to get wonderful hospitality. You're going to get incredible prices if you do stay around long enough to go out. But you're not going to get any favours on a rugby field. Hopefully the Sharks have been the most charitable team. They've given that one away that they did in Edinburgh when they were shocking. But they turned it around the next week. I thought they were outstanding against a Lions team that also showed they will continue to struggle up north if they play like that.
Right.
They've got one way of playing. It's helter-skelter, and it may work at Ellis Park, Emirates, Ellis Park, but it's not going to work overseas. They need more balance. But still, they can do the other teams a favour, the South African teams a favour. If we look, Zels, at this weekend's games...
Yes.
Starting off with the DHL Stormers at the DHL Stadium, and I went to the game against the Bulls. I think they ended up with 15,000, which in a 50,000 seat doesn't look like a lot, but Ollie was at the one before that. There were 6,000 there, and he said you could immediately feel the difference in the impact. It was a bloody good game of rugby by two good sides. It wasn't the spectacle people thought, but it was never going to be that. 1917, we saw some really good individual performances. I believe the Stormers have got the momentum, Zels, and I'm backing them to knock over a Glasgow Warriors side, and I wouldn't be as bullish and as confident if they were going to Glasgow to play these guys. But I look at that Stormers side, the way Dobbo has got them playing, the confidence, Damien Willems hopefully at 12, Galant at 15, even if he comes off the bench for that. I think it will be a good double digits win.
Yeah, also having that Springbok front row of Stephen Kitsoff and Frans Malherbe, I think that's massive for South African rugby, for the Stormers. And I think, Ollie Kevel comes back, he's now a more seasoned campaigner, but you've got to feel like the Stormers have got their edge there in the set piece battle, and that's obviously where games are won and lost. So,
everyone talks about Taid Furlong, and he's a great player, but Frans Malherbe, wow, I don't think that guy gets his dues at all. I would be picking Frans every day of the week as my tight end. And
you just want to keep your distance though, because he eats you like a drumstick.
No, exactly. But you look at Deontay Wilder in boxing, and you look at Tyson Fury in boxing. And Tyson Fury put a picture of the two of them next to each other, and he said, "Who would believe that this fat boy would knock that guy out?"
I remember
he
that.
said, "People who know boxing." Now, when you look at France, and you look at some of these athletic, muscular, converted tight ends, and then you look at the loose ends that France just cleans up. There's a reason he's built the way he is. The reason he scrums the way he does. He's an archetypal
tight head,
scrummaging tight head,
Yeah.
who gets around the park
Yeah, yeah.
and actually makes some bloody good tackles and important ones and turnover steals. I'm a huge fan of Frans Malherbe, and I think when he's
Yeah.
at tight head for the Stormers, it makes such a big difference. Damian Willemse, hoping to get a big game out of him again.
Yeah.
Warwick Holland, some flash before he goes, and obviously Mani Lebok to continue his form, and our boy Evan Rus to continue
to razzle dazzle.
to continue to razzle and dazzle and make another statement to Rassie and Jock to say, look, you've overlooked me for an alignment camp. I'm going to continue to play well. I'm actually going to kick down this door, and you've got to make a case to the public to say that guy's not good enough,
Yeah.
and you've got to tell us why.
Yeah.
So Rus to do well. Every game's a big game for him, and the Stormers to win well. Are we in agreement?
We
on
are
that?
in agreement. Where are we on the bonus point? Because it's really tight at the top of the table. So what happens here?
I think a bonus point is a bonus. Any of the South African sides, except for the Bulls, we'll talk about them just now, to get a bonus point this week, I think would be a bonus.
Right.
So I'm just hoping they get the 4 points
Back
and
to
keep the
done.
momentum,
Yeah.
and they keep on climbing that ladder, and we bring it down to that final week when we're on the road as well. But that could be that added motivation for us to really excel on the road, to actually get a victory in the north, which would give us confidence if we have to play semi-finals there.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, second game of the week. We're looking at...
Let's just, before we get to the second one, because it is a Friday night game.
Yes.
Ulster and Munster.
Oh, you want to chat? Okay, cool. Yeah.
I'd like to chat about Ulster and Munster because they're right up there.
I mean, they are. They're 2 and 4.
Come on, I want to chat.
So yeah, I mean, Ulster at home to Munster at home. Ulster unbeaten, 7-0. Munster away at 2 and 5.
Not in the Champions Cup. They lost for the first time there to Toulouse in the last 5 minutes. Dupont, who scored. Just
Sounds
to
like-
remind
Are
people.
you talking up Munster now? Are you saying Munster's going to do the business? Or
No,
what are you saying?
I'm saying Ulster will win.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I would like Munster to win in the sense that it will pull Ulster back.
Yes.
But at this stage, I'm saying rather let's get Munster out the mix.
Yes.
Let them drop down to 7, 8.
Yeah.
And let them be the ones that potentially have to go and play Leinster. If it goes to a case of one plays 8 in a quarter-final, let the 2 Irish Giants square off once again. Munster manages to topple them. They have to come to Cape Town to play the Stormers.
Right.
I'm looking at the best case scenario for all South African teams.
Okay.
All right. We won't be talking much about the rest of those other guys, but just the South African sides now.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, the Bulls are up at 2 o'clock on Saturday. Obviously on the Highveld, Benetton comes back for the rematch after the Gondolas Bowl. I think they'll be out for blood.
Oh, I hope Willem Strauss, Edgar Rathbone, Jake White, I hope you guys have given them lots of pup, lots of boerewors, lots of pretty girls to look at, a bit of a sokkie, various other things, lekker brandewyn and coke, and you have dulled their senses like they did to you when you went to Benetton, and you smashed them. And finally we can put that 35-8 behind us and just go and do them by 40 points, get the bonus point. I know they've sent out what they could, the best they can, but Benetton on the road traditionally have struggled. That's a bonus point win for the Bulls. It puts them right back in after the losing bonus point in Cape Town.
I would agree. Bulls by 20 on this one, and they must pull through.
Must pull through, and then again that momentum that comes with it.
Yeah.
Sharkies?
I mean, Sharks at home, it is Leinster, but I mean, I feel like you've got to back the home team to win this one. But I mean, it's Leinster. These guys are top of the log for a reason.
Look, we saw what the one of the other famed Shark teams did in the Champions Cup, the Sail Sharks, with 6 South Africans in their pack, 2 at halfback and 3 on the bench. They really hoisted that Sharks flag and showed there's a Sharks rugby team that's doing the business, that's in the
Good for the
quarterfinals.
franchise.
Good for the franchise. A Sharks team that's in the quarterfinals of the Champions Cup. Fantastic effort. And a South African Sharks team.
Yeah.
11 of the 23 were there. So let's hope that the other South African Sharks team, the one that's based in Durban, can actually do something and beat Leinster. I've got them to beat Leinster in a messy game. I don't think they'll get the bonus win, but I think they'll get the win.
Yeah, I've got the Sharks by 5 in this one. I think it will be tight. I really hope they soften up this Leinster squad for next week's match when Leinster come to Cape Town.
And then we got another one. We never forget about you guys up north, the Lions. And you know, what's coming from the Lions is they got a bit of a roll at home. But to me, the key there is I keep on wanting to watch the progress of Jordan Hendrickson.
Same.
And geez, I rate that kid.
Yeah, he's
and
lovely.
I've rated him from the moment I saw him play
This
in the
is
under
true. I
18
remember
side.
that.
And I thought he was outstanding with the under 20s in Stellenbosch in the mud and the wet. And I keep on saying it on these shows. 19 years old, I saw him kick some 55, 60 meter penalties that he converted up at the Emirates Stadium, also known formerly in the old days as Ellis Park. And then I really liked his ticker and his physical presence when they thrust him in against the British and Irish Lions, a game where they took a 50-pointer. He was at the bottom of that ruck making tackles. Got a good boot. He's going to make mistakes. We saw in that Edinburgh game, he scored a lovely support running try and then missed a conversion right next to the post. It's getting those things out of his game, but kids are going to make those mistakes. But I really like the look of him.
The thing with Jordan is, and I think I've said this before, is he's a youngster in a team that's struggling and he's performing well. You know, it's one thing to join a club that's doing really well, you're surrounded by veterans, and then you pull a few strings and you look good. But this guy's walked into a bit of a mess there at the Lions, and he's standing head and shoulders above the rest. That's impressive.
And I want him to be in that box mix because I understand the rationale with Gerson is, are you willing to come play that kind of game? But he's not the character who will settle for third place in that team. He will say, I think I should be the starting 10 in the Springboks, or starting 12, or starting 15. He has that kind of ambition. We also don't know how he's going to come back from. He's had an horrendous injury, okay? So any injury that puts you out of the game for 9 months, we saw that with Pollard. And we continue to see it with Pollard. He's survived on instinct and on muscle memory, but he hasn't been anywhere near the player he was in that World Cup final. And it's been a good year since he's come back from injury. And he's hardly played for Montpellier as well. I think it's 17 games out of a possible 70. So a lot of expectation on the Gerson we were seeing. And that's why if you got Pollard, Elton Jantjies, who's there and thereabouts, and it's always been in his career. Jordan Hendrickson just looks like a breath of fresh air. And I think don't waste your time with the Kerwin Bosch. I think the box selectors are doing that in terms of international capacity. So that's what I want to see is Hendrickson play a good game and maybe influence a good result for the Lions. How have you got them going there?
Yeah, I've got the Lions, but by a very small margin. I reckon they'll beat Connacht, but it'll be pretty close. 4 points.
Connacht an interesting team as well, because they have got ticker and you know they play well, but they took a thorough beating away from home. They're kind of competitive when they're at home, not so good away from home. I'm thinking altitude again could be the factor, and I'm thinking we could have and we should have 4 from 4.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you've got to back the home teams this week.
I'm loving this URC playing at home. Didn't love it in that first month when we went on the road, took a beating. But it's nice to win, it's nice to enjoy the win and to retain our humility. Talking of humility, SA Rugby magazine, a fantastic issue. Leading the charge, Zels. What was the thinking there? You've got Damien Deolandi, Frans Steyn, you've got Andre Esterhuizen glancing over Deolandi's shoulder, and you've got Damian Willemse at 12. What was the thinking behind this?
So those are South Africa's leading 12 options, and I think everyone will agree Damian Deolandi is just on another level. Just a powerhouse number 12, versatile player, probably the key player in that Springbok series against the Lions. Always offers gain line, and we're just sort of celebrating the wealth of talent available to South Africa at the position. Obviously, Andre Esterhuizen is performing very well in the UK. Francis Steyn can down them with the best.
Fantastic to see him come over after having inspired a second half comeback against the DHR Western Province side, 28-21. Him and Ruan Pienaar, he walked over,
chugged a beer
with the left hand,
exactly,
no problems. And then Damian Willemse, like to see him getting more and more game time at 12, and I think post 2023 World Cup there could be a more natural changing of the guard.
He's really a guy that has emerged though over the last couple of weeks. It's been.
But this guy has become a bit of a sunny ball for us, hasn't he?
Amen.
In terms of his presence. And he's learned so much, and as John de Villiers says, second best South African centre to ever go to Munster.
I think the timing wasn't great with the Munster move because he had injuries, but I think they're now seeing what they're losing. Is this guy's just an absolute powerhouse,
and he's committed and he's strong. I think the move to Japan is going to give him a bit of longevity, but it also does. I've seen some players come back from Japan and actually struggle a bit because of the lack of intensity in that, but. Best 12 in the world for me at the moment, Dan Zealandy. Wonderful cover. Guys, it's on the shelves. Go and get it. There's also a wonderful feature on Paul Willemse, the former Bulls SA Under-20 player who's played for France, one of the best locks in the world. We're talking about the Bulls. Willem Strauss, the president. Bull in the Kraal, it says. The man behind the Loftus revival. And what a revival it's been with Jake. Edgar Rathbone taking over there as the CEO. They've won everything there's to win professionally. If they don't win the URC, it will be the first one they haven't won that they've competed in the last 2 years. They've won the under-21s, the under-20s, the under-18s, and Tucks are playing in the final of the Varsity Cup, and they are the defending champions of that Varsity Cup. So on every level in Pretoria and Tshwane, it's going brilliantly. The Carlton Cup is strong, and really a credit to an administration that knows what they're doing, a professional setup that knows what they're doing, and players that know what they're doing. And then obviously we spoke about Jordan Hendrickson. He's in here as well. Age doesn't matter. A very interesting interview that Ollie did with him. A very mature kind of interview, and so some wonderful stuff. And there's a thing that Zell's also put together, a Super Rugby series from the start of Super Rugby till the end, looking at all the best teams, and it's kind of like a fantasy game, which team would beat which. Makes for fantastic reading. This is one of my favorite issues so far, and because of the cover, best centre in the world, and my God, would it be nice if he was still playing for the Stormers.
Well, word is he's on his way back in a couple of years' time, but let's see.
As defence coach. Zell's, it's always been a pleasure to chat. Let's hope for a Stormers win, a Bulls win, a Sharks win.
Make it so.
And a Ludo at Ellis Park.
Let's have it.
Emirates Stadium, guys. And thanks for that. And get to Cape Town. If you're in Cape Town, get to the Cape Town Stadium on Friday night under lights. Support the Stormers. They're playing such good rugby. 15,000. Let's try and turn that into 20,000. And it may spur on that bonus point win. Thanks, Els.
Well done.